Hi, I'm Michael Pachuta, and I'm a results leader.
You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm. Being a thought leader is easy. Getting results is hard. This show is for the results leader who lives and dies by their results. Here is your host and Chief Results Leader, Jonathan Rivera.
Yes, y'all. You know what time it is. It's time for another edition of ResultsLeader.fm. I am extremely happy for you today, because if you are hearing these words right now, you are in for a supreme treat. Today's interviewee is a wealth of knowledge. He's a philosopher, and I think I counted at least 5 or 10 quotables in our short interview. I mean, the guy is good. Today, I have Michael Pachuta, the executive director at the XO Network, and he's also president of Effigy, Entrepreneurs Focused on Growth Incorporated. This guy is dropping some serious knowledge when we talk about growth, strategic planning, about getting better results for clients. It's all in today's episode of Results Leader. So let's jump in. All right, Michael, welcome to the show. What is up, my man?
Hello, Jonathan. I'm enjoying life. I'm heading to some warm weather today.
Oh, man, that's got to be good. So let's jump into this. What I want to do is give you an easy one to ease you into the interview. So the first question I have for you today is, what book or books have you given most as a gift?
Jim Collins' Good to Great, Kiss Theory Goodbye by Bob Prosen, and 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Those are the 3 that I've given the most.
Excellent. Is there any one of them that is your favorite, or are they all pretty equal to you?
Kiss Theory Goodbye by Bob Prosen is probably my favorite. It motivated me the most, really explained irreversible corrective action. John Maxwell, Raising the Lid, Chapter 1. I read it with my kids as well, and the self-evaluation really helped there. And Jim Collins' Good to Great has been something we gave out to our staff for years as their welcoming gift.
Beautiful. Now, you know, and I know that being an entrepreneur is full of glory and full of failure. I want to ask you, when or how has an apparent failure set you up for later success?
That's a great question. And immediately as an entrepreneur, I go right back to like the 50 or 60 failures I've had. So it's like, which one has set me up? I would say that most recently with the pandemic, we went to 0 revenue in March. We're an event management and coordination company. And it took a few weeks of what the heck are we going to do to, okay, here's an opportunity. And the world slowed down. And I've talked to a lot of my friends, and they're all like, we all became very focused. We all stopped doing things that we shouldn't be doing, and shouldn't is the right word. It's things we were doing that were distracting from our personal lives, from our business lives. People cut memberships. Like, we're not really using this. And there was a lot of clarity over the last year and a half. And I think that's been one of the great parts, and people are going to laugh at me, the great parts of being locked down, having the time to work on ourselves and our businesses and our lives. This has been a positive in my experience. I choose to focus on the positives, because we could go down and go in that dark hole a lot. But that's been one of the biggest. I'm in an industry that shut down. So that I chose an industry that I love, but it's a failure because if the economy goes down, we're one of the first ones to cut.
I want to go a little bit deeper into some word choices there, because I study what people say all the time because I'm listening. And you made a statement there that I wrote down here. Great part of being locked down. And then you followed that up with saying you choose to stay on the positive side. Not everybody knows they have a choice to do that. And so when did you realize that you had that choice?
The realization of it's your choice. I've been a student of the mind, and I joked with my kids and staff and entrepreneurs, friends for years that it's mind over matter. And if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. So I realized really young that number one of the phrases that if money will solve it, it's not really a problem. Now, finding the money is a whole different issue, but if money will solve it, it's not a problem. You can't solve love or health. You can buy better doctors, you can hire better doctors, you can buy better medicine, you can do different things, but you really cannot change the outcome of health or love. What you can change is whether you're spending money on too many clothes or buying too big a house or too big a car or investing in things that it's what if and not really asking clients if they'll buy it before you go out and spend a lot of money to put it in place and realize nobody wants it. So I learned probably in 7th to 9th grade that if you didn't worry about it, if it didn't mind to you, then it didn't really matter. And that's with friends. If you were the one who was always calling the people to say, hey, can you do something? And they're not calling back, you're not in their mind.
The truth.
One-way friendships are not friendships in my book.
You're right about that, brother. I love it. I love it. And there's a lot there. I want you guys listening to actually hit that little button. I mean, most podcast players have a 30-second back. Hit that once or twice and listen to what Michael's saying. There's a lot of wisdom wrapped up there and quotables as well that I've written down that I want to get out there. But let's move on to the next one. Michael, what is the most worthwhile investment you have ever made?
Investing in myself, continuing education. I went and took a neuro-linguistics programming course. I joined Entrepreneurs Organization. I have reached out, and I like to talk in sports analogies sometimes, and I was a point guard in basketball. I was not that good. My dad was a much better basketball player than I was. However, but when you're a point guard and you have a big man behind you, you can extend your defense. You can go after it, make a little bit of risk. And so when you invest in yourself to be that big man or that big person or that big female, you're the entrepreneur. And I joked a lot early on that my title was really janitor. My job was to walk around, to find things that were broken, find messes, clean them up, give them back to the proper staff member, and let them excel. So the biggest investment was in myself, in allowing myself to be happy, and allowing myself to stop the self-talk. Everybody has it. You tell yourself things that you would never tell a friend or a family member, and you can shrink that. You can say, why am I saying this to myself if I wouldn't say it to somebody else? And then start valuing your time. And there's a lot of entrepreneurial courses out there that say, put an hourly rate on your time. And then if you're going to go to a ball game, is that worth my $300 an hour to sit there for 4 hours? Would I pay $1,200 to go do that? Is that going to help me in my marriage, with my kids, with my business, with my personal relationship with me? Those are the things. So the biggest investment I've made is in myself over the last few years. It took me a long time to learn that.
I wanted to ask you about that because that is obviously a popular answer on the show. You said that the thinking you had in 7th or 9th grade was that if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. When did you realize this investment in myself thing?
Probably around 8-10 years ago.
Took you a little while, eh?
Yeah, it took me a little while. So going through the motions, you get caught up into the worldly items of better, faster, cheaper. The internet comes in during my lifetime. The ATMs come in during my lifetime. CDs come in, music online. In my lifetime alone, and I'm just over 50 years old, a few years over 50. During my lifetime, the world has just exponentially changed. And you could get caught up into small town and competing with the Joneses or keeping up with the Smiths and all those phrases. The real key was when I sat down and the calm came for me 8 to 10 years ago, and I made a lot of drastic and important changes in my life. And that's when it happened.
All right. So let's continue on this idea of reflection. In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
Meditation. by far number one. The quieting of the mind, not in the old woo-woo aspect, and that's an old outdated term now, but the reflection, and some people call it prayer or self-reflection, meditation. There's so many different terms for it, but it's the internal calming so that you're at a point where you can think about things outside of doing them. And that's second perspective. So if you picture yourself sitting in a chair and you go above yourself to look down at yourself and say, how are you acting? Why are you doing that? And ingraining that into recognizing it while you're in the situation, that is powerful. Because then when you're recognition, you can then change. And anybody who has kids, and I have 5, anybody who has kids realizes that when they have a child, they take maybe 1/10 of all the habits you like about yourself, and they take 90% of all the habits you don't like about yourself, and they exponentially grow those. And so you're looking at that going, I don't like, that's me. Oh, why did I do that? Why am I setting that example? And so that meditation, if you can recognize it in it, then you can change and adapt to what you want it to be. And there's no better reflection than watching your child do exactly what you did and you getting upset about that. So the shiny in you is the shiny in me. And that's how it works for the last 5 years.
Yeah. We've got a 6-year-old and we see it all the time. That's me. I'll take credit for that one.
and that's when you say, that's your daughter. That's your son.
Yeah. We switch off. Cool, man. So let's have a little fun. What are some bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise?
Bad recommendations. And you're talking like event management and coordination, right?
Yeah.
Running events for lead generation by inviting your existing clients.
What?
Yeah. We get calls all the time saying, hey, we want to run an event. And then they get upset that there's not a lot of people there. So they invite their existing clients who they already have the revenue from, and they fill it up with staff and existing clients and friends to make it look popular. You don't have to be popular. This goes back to mind over matter. You need the right 1 to 7 people in the room. It's people do business with people they know, trust, and like. And you can build your network without talking about yourself. I've done quite a few interviews. This is the first time I've done one in probably about 3 or 4 months. And I enjoyed our conversation. I enjoyed your energy. And I want to put myself around people with a higher energy vibration or level than I have. And I saw that in you. And so being around that. Does that answer your question completely?
Sure. I mean, it's just wherever your mind goes. That's what this is about. It's personal to you. That's what's fun about this. All right, I know you were getting into that, and we were just about to get into my favorite part where we talk about results. But first, I want to ask you a question. Are you picking up what we're laying down on this show? Are you digging what we are sharing? If you are, why not make yourself a hero today and share this with somebody who can use it? Put this out on your social media channels. #ResultsLeaderFM. I'll be out there looking for you, and I'll make sure to boost it up too when I see you. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump back into the interview. Now we are going to get into the part of the show, the namesake, results. Why do results matter, Michael?
I think that's a cultural aspect. If you don't measure, you can't manage, all the fun sayings. And in strategic planning, we always had, in God we trust, all others bring data. And so results matter because you're keeping score with yourself. Golf is a great example of that, where you're playing yourself. And chess versus checkers. And Daniel Marcos explained it the other day on a call I was on with him. He's with the Growth Institute. And he really said, every checkerboard, you know exactly what every player, every piece can do. They can move one way, this way, and 2, and they can jump. And he goes, you know what they can do. When you start playing chess and realizing that you have so many pieces that can do so many different things, now it becomes a game. And the results are how well you play the game. So results are important to keep track for yourself, not for others.
That's a quotable there. I want writers, audio engineers, get that piece there. We need that. This guy's full of them. You are media savvy, my friend. I like it. So let's keep moving on. In the last 5 years, what new realization has helped you get better results for your clients?
Very good question. The realization that the world, as we social media, internet, in person, I think we're actually born to be with people. And the realization that you can actually enjoy what you do by putting your mind up front of, I'm going to have fun. And if I'm not going to have fun, I'm not going to do it. For our clients, they do things because other people did it. I had an example of, I was looking for a marketing firm probably about 10 years ago. And I had 5 companies lined up, all to interview. And the first 3 came in and said, okay, who's your competitors? Let's look at their websites, look at that. And the 4th one came in, and she's out of Virginia at that time, Maryland. And she walked in and she started saying, okay, who do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, well, don't you want to know who our competitors are? She goes, I don't give a who your competitors are. I want to know who you want to be, because what they're doing got them to where they're at. What you're doing is going to get you to where you want to be. And that stuck with me. And so in the last 5 years, I really focus on the clients where they want to be. Is this a lifestyle business? Is this a exit business? Is this something you actually enjoy? Or did you fall into it? I mean, Harvard does all the studies about how many people are actually working, what percentage of people are working in the area they have their degree in. And it's like really small. And I'm sitting there going, well, if you went to school for 4 to 6 years to get this degree because you were passionate about it, and then you're not working in it, what do you really want to do? And we change over time. So what you might have grown up in, I wanted to be a basketball player when I was growing up. I wanted to be a baseball star. I wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be a programmer. I wanted to do all these things because our parents, our community, all guided us to what they thought we would be good at. When you realize what you're good at, what your gift is, and you go with that, I'm not saying the money immediately follows by any chance. And that's what everybody says. Do what your passion is, the money will follow. Well, no, you got to live day to day. You have to pay the bills. So if you can balance, and I don't think there's a life-work balance whatsoever, it's one life. So when I get to our clients and talk about one life and how I can engage them, and many of our clients are like, look, I won't work with you until I can meet your spouse. I won't work with you until I can meet your team. I will not do, because I want to know who you are every single day, not the person you're trying to make me think you are for those 30 minutes that we're talking. That has really helped our clients a lot when I say, look, let's get together. Let's have a glass of wine. Let's have a gin and tonic. Those are the things that if you can relax, you don't have to drink. I'm not saying you do, but when you can sit with somebody after the first 30 minutes, you start seeing who that person is Tuesday and Wednesday, not the person who's trying to sell you on what they want you to think they are.
Powerful, powerful. Now, let's turn this inward for a second, and I'd like to know, what area of your business would you like to see better results?
Better communication of the vision. I'm a visionary. If you're going to take the Gino Wickman EOS or the Ron LaPointe EM Advisor, the visionary and the implementer. I am a visionary, and I can see things, and my history has allowed me the gift of being able to put myself in the audience's perspective. I run events, so I can think of it as the attendee's perspective. When does an attendee have the most stress? It's the 2 miles before they arrive to the event, because they're trying to do that last phone call and they're looking for signs and they're going to pass by it. And when they walk in, they're like, where am I supposed to go? What do I want to? And if you can eliminate that stress and make that experience come in. The other thing on the sites that we set up for people to register, you can literally put the buttons, register here, then you move them off to the right, move them off to the left. If you think about how your layout of your hotel, your conference, your networking event's going to be, and you start moving them that way on the registration page, they'll follow that pattern when they show up to the event.
Wow.
You're planting the seed of how you want them to go, even to the point where the restrooms are at. So you always finish with where you start with. They come in, they want to go to registration, they go to the bar, they get some food, they talk for a little bit, then they have to hit the restroom. That's how you plan your registration site.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So my vision in communicating that effectively and openly to our team would be the area that because I know it, I see it, I get it, but really communicating that out, because I have Mike speak, and I think everybody has their own short speak. And I go, do this, this, this. And I know what I mean, but they might not.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that all the time. Come on. You can't read my mind. All right. Here's the big one. What results are you most proud of?
Mine jumps to like 4 or 5 things you could talk about. And this is a question about me. So it's what am I most proud of? I'm most proud of that I am living a life that I enjoy. A lot of people talk about their kids. They'll talk about their spouse. They'll talk about their job, their career. And I believe that I'm like a battery, and I've got so much energy in me. And if I take that energy away or use that up, then I can't give anything to anybody else. And if you're not happy with yourself, your battery is half empty to begin with. So I'm very happy with who I am, and could not always say that. And my kids see it in me. My wife sees it in me. My friends see it in me over the last 5-6 years. And they've made many comments about, you seem happier. You seem younger. You seem really like you're enjoying life. That's the one thing that really is everything to me. A lot of people go out and they want to help the less fortunate, and still there's somebody has to buy the blankets. A lot of people want to give the blankets away. Somebody's going to buy them. You got to take care of yourself. You got to clean up your own backyard before you can clean up anybody else's.
Man, that is some serious wisdom there. I love it. I love it. I love it so much, man. I'm so glad that we got to have this conversation. Now, any parting thoughts to the listeners as we're wrapping up?
Well, it's taken me a long time. It's not an overnight success. You know these athletes that say, hey, they're overnight or 20-year overnight success. They've been playing for years. They've been honing their skills. Entrepreneurs that make it, and they're like, oh yeah, we had this great jump. We grew 1,000% last year, and they don't talk about the 16 years before that. Parting words would be to take some time for yourself. Make sure you enjoy what you do. It's not always has to be what you want to do, but you enjoy it. And that's really important, because not everybody has the money to invest to start a business. Not everybody has the money to go out and do. You still have to pay bills. It's a realistic approach, but make sure you enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. Everybody can talk about the dash. And are you familiar with the dash?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
So on your tombstone, it's here's the day you were born, here's the day you died. But what's important is the dash, the time invested. Not spent, the time invested in between the first day and the last day. And I would really encourage people to think about the value of what they're investing in. Step back, look at yourself. And if you're not completely enjoying or happy with what you're doing, to make a tweak, not a change, a tweak. As old the pea in the moon, where you put up the pea in front of your face, you can cover up the moon. Well, the moon must be the size of a pea. You don't have to go too crazy. It's simply a half a degree or a 1 degree tweak. So that's where I would share.
All right. So we will be sharing your links on the show notes, of course, but where can our listeners go to find out more about you?
They can go to my LinkedIn page, and they can go to Facebook. I spend more time on LinkedIn and more time on Facebook. Like last night, I was talking to some of the entrepreneurs and some of the groups that I belong to, and till like 1:30 in the morning. And we're exchanging ideas and thoughts and what's going on. And it's just enjoyable to me, that social media. Now, I would honestly love to say I'm going to be networking here and there. So we're out having live events.
Excellent. Cool. So it has been a pleasure speaking with you. There is a lot of wisdom in this short episode, and I appreciate you for that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in, and we will be back in your earbuds next time.
Thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate it.
That is a wrap for another edition of Results resultsleader.fm. If you are out there getting results for your clients and you want to be featured on the show, go to resultsleader.fm now and apply to be on the show. And if you love what you're hearing, share the show, give us a rating and review, do anything to help us get the message out there. Thought leadership is easy, but results leadership is hard.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.